Exchange for Sustainable Agriculture. Hold on just a sec. Again, I'm with MESA, and we are so excited to be partnered with the Asian Rural Institute for this very unique opportunity. Just a little teeny background about MESA for those of you who don't know. We're a grassroots nonprofit organization based in Berkeley, California. We've been around for, well, conducting programming for 30 years. Our core program is what we call the Sustainable Agriculture and Global Exchange, or SAGE program. We are designated by the U.S. Department of State to sponsor beginning farmers from mostly our prioritization is beginning to work with beginning farmers from the global south who are seeking training and cultural exchange with sustainable farms, biodynamic farms, organic farms, and industries in the United States. So we have been running the SAGE program for 30 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. We also were among the first innovators to offer online agroecology courses starting in 2014. We've partnered with a number of other mission-aligned organizations to facilitate courses, co-facilitate course. We also have had some training abroad programs. We partner with non-governmental organizations in the countries where we're partnered on the SAGE program, who also are able and wanting to receive Americans either as volunteers at their training sites or at their farms, including, we have over 1,200 alumni of the SAGE program who are also doing amazing work in their home countries. 60 plus countries that we've sponsored individuals from. So that's a little bit about MESA, and we're really excited to be launching this first ever program between MESA and ARI. So really happy to introduce Emily Kuhn, who is our communications coordinator as well as our GAPP coordinator for MESA. And she wears many hats, so I'll let you take it from here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. And thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Kiko and Jack, for being here. Um, as Lauren said, my name is Em. I'm the Communications and Programs Coordinator for MESA. I also work at an agrivoltaics farm here in Southern California, so very involved in agriculture, organizing, practical applications, and all that good stuff, and excited to be going on this trip, hopefully with you all as the coordinator. We'll be doing 3 weeks of training at the center at Asian Rural Institute, our global partner site, and arriving on May 31st in Narita. From there, on June 1st, we'll all travel together on the bullet train, get our first authentic Japanese experience there, and then arrive and stay in some lovely dormitories and learn together at the farm alongside MESA's agroecology instructor, Frida Endenjock, who couldn't be here tonight, but she'll be there as well from the MESA team. So that's a little bit of an overview of what the program is. As I'm sure most of you know, we'll be having a Q&A session tonight, so brainstorm some questions if you haven't already, and we'll be answering them live today. So I'll pass the baton to Jack, the head of economical relations at Asian Rural Institute, and Yukiko, the associate director and curriculum associate. Take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
So my name is Jack Lichten. I am Ecumenical Relations Coordinator ARI, meaning I handle international partnerships, including our wonderful connection with MESA.
And my name is Yukiko Oyanagi. I'm Associate Director of ARI, and I'm also working in the curriculum section.
So just to quickly explain a little bit what ARI is, we are a technical school in northern Japan, 2 hours north of Tokyo. Our main program, we have a 9-month, what we call our Rural Leaders Training Program. And this is where we have folks from organizations throughout the Global South who are at the ARI campus for 9 months, and they are training in sustainable agriculture, leadership training, what we call servant leadership, and then different community development, community building skills. And throughout this 9-month certificate program, they are living on the campus together in dormitories. They are learning by doing, which means that they are both practicing leadership skills together and also growing the food that we eat, and they are cooking the food that we eat every day at ARI. This is because ARI is not just a training institute, but we are also a working farm. And of the 38 to 40,000 meals that we eat at ARI every day, 90% of that food is grown on the ARI campus by staff such as ourselves, the farm staff, and the participants in their training program. In regards to this, we primarily grow rice. We are fully self-sufficient in rice. We also grow a fair amount of wheat and corn, 70 different types of vegetables. And then we also raise pigs, chickens, and goats. And that is part of a kind of circular ecosystem where we're using the animal waste as part of the methods of producing organic fertilizers to produce the vegetables that we grow and eat here. All part of building healthy soils, which is also significant for building healthy individuals and healthy communities, because if you have healthy soil, all else follows from there.
Forest.
Yes, and a healthy forest as well. So on our campus, we do have about 15 acres, including several acres of forest, farmland, our campus buildings, and then several additional acres of land that we use around in the neighborhood. And so that's kind of a general description of our school and our program as a whole. And then for the specifics of the program, oh, yes, please.
And then while we are doing the MESA programming here, that time we already have the participant from different countries for our own program.
Yes.
So if you join this program, you are going to meet the 22 participants from 13 countries, Asian and Africa, and plus 2 training assistants from 2 countries. And then, of course, staff members from 5, 6
Yes.
countries, like that.
Yes.
So we have this diverse community, and then you also can learn from those kind of environment.
So the folks in that, as Yukiko-san mentioned, we have 22 people from 13 different countries, and then 2 training assistants who also manage the dormitories. These will be, if you join this program, they are your neighbors for 3 weeks. They are living in the dorms for 9 months, and as part of the 3-week program, you are living alongside them. You will be cooking. If you join this program, as part of our daily schedule, we have an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, where we are making breakfast, making supper, working in the vegetable fields, working in the livestock areas. This is part of the sort of community leadership model that we teach. So as part of the 3-week program, you are working alongside them in the vegetable fields, in the livestock areas, as well as cooking the meals that everybody, including you guys, will eat and hopefully enjoy. So that is one part of the 3-week program, is working alongside the folks in our 9-month program to help prepare the food, to help prepare the soil, to help grow the vegetables. And that's a very important part of the learning by doing process here at ARI. You will see how we're growing vegetables. You may learn from each other's mistakes or learn new ideas from those folks. So that's one small part of the workday at ARI. And then for our main sort of classes and programs in the middle of the day, we have adapted our curriculum to focus primarily on the sustainable agriculture component. This will include several lessons on agroecology from MESA staff, Frida, who will be joining the trip. But then also ARI's own forms of agriculture, including making your own fertilizers. We will, depending on the season, if the seasons cooperate, we will have rice transplanting. So ARI's main staple crop, rice production, you can be involved in. We will have several rounds of different types of farm work on the ARI campus to experience, as well as several sessions in learning the skills that we use to manage our farm, which I want to just mention. We have been fully organic for over 40 years. So it's all organic, it's all local materials. Um, and then a little bit of the servant leadership, a little bit of the community development skills. We'll have a few classes on that. With only 3 weeks, we want to focus on the agroecological and agroecological components of it, but several sessions as well on leadership development, including one of ARI's most important skills that MESA also teaches in their other programs in different varieties called participatory learning and action. Anything else you want to add? One thing I do want to mention is that because ARI, we grow 90% of our food, and we grow it in a system incorporating our livestock and our livestock and our vegetables. Our main sources of protein on the ARI campus are pork, chicken, eggs, and soybeans. Soybean and eggs are probably the most common, but for people with vegan diets, we do basically, practically speaking, our protein sources might be somewhat limited. And we are discussing, because we also have people from different parts of the world who can't physically grow their most important crops and vegetables in this region. And so we do purchase a few things outside. That's the 10%. And we are looking at purchasing a few extra vegan-based proteins during the time you're here. But I do just want to let you be aware, for vegans, ARI is sometimes it can be a challenge. And we will do our best to accommodate that, but we also ask to just keep that in mind as you are preparing for the program. And if you have specific questions about the diets, we're happy to answer more as you like. The other thing I do want to mention is, as we are, when you guys come here, I mentioned you will be living in a dormitory with the other people who are at the ARI campus, including the participants. ARI's dormitories are all, so we have a men's dorm and a women's dorm, and in each of those, the rooms are shared two to a room. So we do ask that when you join, you will have a roommate who will be most likely have a roommate who is also part of the program. So you guys will be not just living together in the dormitories, but you'll be sharing a room with one other person in the program. And that is based on the limitations of ARI's housing, basically. I think that's the basic gist of it. We're really happy. We're really happy that you are interested, and we're hoping that we can provide some interesting agricultural knowledge for you. ARI itself has over 1,400 graduates in 63 different countries, and we've had other short-term programs. Over 500 people each year come and stay at ARI from anywhere from 2 or 3 days to a week or more to learn a little bit about ARI's agricultural and servant leadership models. And so we're excited that you have interest, and we hope you join the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack and Yukiko-san. I'm going to please invite anyone to unmute yourself and ask a question. And if people are too shy, I may step in and ask a question or two that I know we've gotten, because we have gotten a lot of questions from folks who are interested in this program. But please, if you have a question, unmute yourself. There you go, Nathan, go for it.
So I know that the program starts on May 31st. So does that mean we have to like go to the airport at like May 30th so we can get there in time, because like the airport, because like Japan's time difference is a lot from the US?
We definitely want you to arrive in Japan on the 31st.
Okay, so does that mean like in that case, wait, then we have to like leave May 30th, right? Here in the US.
Basically, Em and I were working on hotel space near the hotel, near the airport. So if you arrive at the airport on the 31st, you stay the night, and then the whole group comes up to ARI as a group. We are about four, including all the transfers, it could be anywhere from 3 to 5 hours from the airport to ARI. So as long as you arrange your flight to arrive at the airport on May 31st, like it usually tells you when you buy the ticket, so you'll arrive at the airport on May 31st, then you're fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure, like, and when
Yeah.
I should book the ticket.
Yes. And that is Narita International Airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great question, Nathan.
I
Sri?
had a question, Lauren. Where exactly are you located, and is this a mountainous region? Like, does the rice grow on flatlands or?
We are in the northern part of Kanto district, which is, and then prefecture is called Tochigi Prefecture, which is 150 kilometers from Tokyo. And our area is near the mountain, but our area is, what do you call it, bottom of the mountain.
We're like in the middle of in a valley, in a very
Valley.
large valley.
Right. So it's a flat land. We actually our campus is on the hill, but the field are the flat land.
Yeah, around us is all flat.
Right. So we grow the rice in that area, and then our vegetable field also not like a terrace, but it's a flat field.
And your irrigation is well irrigation, or you get river water, or?
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, main part of the Japan, we can use the irrigation from the natural river. However, this area is one of the difficult place for us to get the water. So our ancestor built the canal, and then we use that canal. And then also because of that difficulty to use the natural river, because of the natural condition, our paddy itself, we use the underground water. And then that the story, this has a very interesting story of the rural development and the rural leadership. So we are planning to include that story in the program.
Not just the story, but also a 1 day tour of the area of the sort of that valley that's maybe 2 hours across. We're going to go on a tour of that as part of the classes here to teach about the sort of the natural development history of the region that ARI exists in and lessons that can be applied elsewhere because it's fascinating. Japan has a lot of water, but this region has specific challenges related to water and wind that make it the fact that it is now a highly productive agricultural region is an interesting story. And it's one of the classes and one of the field trips that we will do as part of this program.
And then for the vegetable field, we depend on the rain, and it was good enough before. However, because of the climate crisis, nowadays it become more difficult. So we started to do the carrying the water and then do the watering, but we do not have the irrigation system because we used to have enough water from rain. So that the climate change issue also after you come, and you can also discuss with your friend and then also our participant.
And the climate issue in terms of not having enough water and now us carrying water is within the past 2 years. So I think last summer was the second time they did it. So it's a very recent phenomenon. So when you are there, you will see a little bit of us managing that a little bit. I should mention as well, for those of you in the since I think majority of people are in the United States and North America right now, our climate is somewhat similar to maybe Georgia, North Carolina. So in June, it will be getting pretty hot and pretty humid. And maybe the last week you're here is typically when the rainy season starts, monsoon season starts. So it'll be very rainy the last few days. Past couple years, the rain has come and gone and like unpredictably. So we don't know entirely for certain how it will come because the weather is more unpredictable. But generally, it'll be maybe upper 70s to mid 80s and a bit humid.
Just one One last question I had.
So you said that the ARI campus will be like 2 hours away from Tokyo, right?
Yes.
And what city is that in exactly?
The city we are based in is called Nasu Shiobara.
Mm.
The closest, like, city that looks like a city. The closest large city is called Utsunomiya.
Mm.
ちょっと失礼だごめんなさい. We are about where we are though, we are 15 minutes bike ride from the nearest local station.
And it's it's a town.
Yeah, it's a town. It's legally a city, but practically speaking, it's a
Right.
town. Yes. But one thing I also want to mention is, during the weekdays out, we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner as part of our program. All those meals are included in the fee. And as part of the community model we do here, everybody living on the campus is part of the rotation for preparing the meals. So while you're here, we do expect you to join those parts to help cook the meals. That's part of the program. And so we also expect you to, especially during the weekdays, to join the meals with everybody here because it's the best time to experience fellowship with the folks that you're in the program with and the other people who are living and working on campus who are also helping to produce all the food that makes ARI work.
Sounds good.
I also wanted to find out if you like touch upon the cultural history. You said the natural history of the region, but the cultural history would like especially with I know rice is a very important and culturally significant crop in Japan.
So you mean sort of like cultural history of Japanese food and cultural history of Japanese agriculture type of
Not
thing?
Japanese, but even if it is the region's history.
Meaning like this area?
Yeah, I think this area is food history.
Actually what we are doing, for example, the food which we are cooking in here is not based on this regional the tradition, but rather the people who cook. So because we have a rotation, as Jack said, we have a rotation from the volunteers and then especially participants, and the participants are from certain countries. And then so we rather enjoy their cultural, how to call it, that traditional food. So like, okay, today this breakfast is a Myanmar food. This evening is a Sierra Leone food, or tomorrow maybe Malawi food, something like that. So actually in our community, there is nobody from this own community, this local community.
Yeah.
So we are rather from a different area, even we are from, even though those who are from Japan. So we are enjoying that diversity.
Within
thank you.
those rotations, there's always some people from Japan and particularly at lunchtime, people who live in the local area who are assisting with preparing meals. So there are Japanese foods as part of the weekday meals. It's not like we specifically prepare today is this set meal. It's the people in the kitchen that day cooking what they think is what they want to cook or what they feel is most appropriate to cook. And so the styles are different each time. On weekends, and we are thinking, we have other trips. We have 1 or 2 trips planned in the schedule, as well as visitations to Japanese farms nearby. And there you will also see some of the local culture in terms of particularly agriculture. The other element is that because it's all food grown here, it's all food that fits this climate and this ecosystem. There is there is a great proportion of Japanese foods, and especially at lunchtimes, prepared in Japanese styles. So I think that's the basic gist of it. I mean, the other element is that as participants in this program, you will also, we expect you to help, if you are asked to cook in the kitchen for breakfast or supper, that is also an opportunity for you to share your style of cooking with other people in the ARI community.
Using
Thank you.
ARI products.
Yes.
Thank you.
I see Juan.
Juan Carlos.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, thank you. My question is basically about the practices that you apply on your growing system. We have been farming here for like more 14 years. Our farm is based on permaculture, and our practices, well, we tried to source all traditions from South America and Asia. So that's why really I'm interested about this program because uh, we are not interested in really industrial agriculture at all. Here in the state, you can find that, but according to what I've read and learned from teachers, there is a big tradition in Japan that still conserve those old traditions as well in China and Korea, but it's really hard to find information about that. So I'm curious about what practices you apply there, if it's more modernized or you still keep the old traditions of farming.
So for the farming, thank you very much for your question. For farming practice, basically we are doing the organic farming, and then our method is mainly Japanese traditional way, but more, how do you call it, the integrated with like a Korean natural farming or learning from our participants, so from other country. Then we established the ARI organic farming method. And then because one of the reason is because our participants are from different countries, and then especially those who are working in the so-called developing country, rural area. So we always have to think about it, how we can settle the method in an appropriate way for each one of the participants. So if we try to teach, for example, something like a Japanese high technology, advanced organic farming, then maybe most of our participants cannot practice in their own area. So we try to do it more using the local resources which we can find, and then we share our method more like principles, not like a recipe. So and then when we, for example, when we make the organic fertilizer, we always try to emphasize that first you need to find the microorganism in your locality, and then let me share how to multiply that so that you can use even in your own place. Or when we process to the fertilizer, okay, we use this for example, rice bran and then chicken manure and then this microorganism. But in your place, what is available in your place? So always we emphasize it. So in that way, we are practicing.
So we're teaching fundamentals that are inspired, that are based in traditional Japanese agricultural principles, organic agricultural principles, mixed with, new ideas from the past 50 to 70 years, combined with the lessons we've learned from graduates of our program coming from the Global South. And then we teach those fundamentals, which then, are like the basic building blocks. And then we ask you, okay, if you know this NPK, or what materials do you have in your home region that can then be used to make this work? Because if you just take the ARI recipe as is, you may not have those ingredients. They may have different properties. So how do you adjust it to fit your own experience? But for example, because the majority of people who train at ARI typically do not have access to, they may not even have access to a tractor. They probably don't have access to a lot of heavy equipment. So a lot of ARI's farm training programs, the training element of it is done with hand tools, hand labor, something that anybody can do if you pick up a tool. So we don't do training in how to use a tractor or how to use drones or anything like that, because we assume that you can't get those easily, and even if you could, there are other ways to learn how to do that. That's not ARI's goal, and we will not teach that in this program. We'll teach building blocks of organic agriculture.
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's what we do here. We only use our hands and hand tool.
I'm curious, Juan Carlos, where is your farm?
In Bloomington, Indiana,
Oh, wonderful.
Midwest. Yeah.
Hello. I see Angela has their hand raised. Go ahead and
Go ahead.
unmute yourself.
Hi, thanks so much for sharing the information. I have a logistical question first. So, since there are field trips and other things that we're going to do, will we need additional financial funds like cash aside from, paying for the airfare and just having that? Would you recommend having cash? Is that necessary for the outside activities that might be done during the program?
Great question.
So we mentioned field trips. We mentioned, yes, we mentioned a couple of field trips. And for those observation trips, we will arrange for the lunch. The lunch is part of the program fee. There is an optional trip that is sort of your choice to Nikko, which is a famous Shinto shrine that is about an hour away by bus. For the optional one, we would ask you to prepare cash for lunch, maybe about 1,500 yen or about $10. But you would also want to have generally have money, your own money, if you want to pick up souvenirs. We serve 20 meals a week, so as part of the program fee, includes the meals for everything except Sunday lunch. And Sunday lunch, around here, probably $10 to $15. Or you can pick up ingredients and cook for yourself in the dormitory. So for Sunday lunch, for the optional trips, and if you want to visit Tokyo on a weekend, for example, everything else, those things you would need to have a little extra cash. But aside from that, the program elements and especially the weekday observation trips that we prepare, we will arrange for the lunch.
So
Yes.
if you want to go to visit Tokyo during the weekend, then if you use a bullet train,
Yeah.
go and back.
Bullet train is 10,000 yen round trip. So, and then staying in Tokyo, it's probably it has become more expensive. Maybe you would, if you don't go to Tokyo, I think having about $100 a week would more than cover you for here. It would be, yeah, you would be totally fine. We have people staying here on they spend less than $100 a month when they stay in the area. If you go to Tokyo for a weekend or for like Saturday night, you would want to prepare extra money.
Got it. Thank
Yes.
you. And so in that area, cash is recommended. Like, I don't know if places take credit cards. Is it mostly cash in the rural areas?
It's
Like if you
up
buy
to the
lunch, for
shop.
example?
Like a supermarket, you can use
Cash.
cash card
Yes.
and a credit card, I mean.
Credit card.
Credit card.
I haven't used, so I would say almost everywhere takes credit card, but there's just enough places that only take cash, like that I would recommend having maybe a 10,000 yen bill on you, just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The advice, I think there's very common advice on travel in Japan, which says majority of places are cash based, and that is increasingly not true, but it is still true just enough that having a 10,000 yen bill on you is helpful for just that 5% of the time.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that when you were talking about the program and the skills you were teaching, one of the things you mentioned was servant leadership principles.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about maybe an example of how you teach servant leadership in like the daily practice of this program? Just curious if there's a specific example of how that's applied in addition to the substantive content that you teach.
So the workshop itself is like collecting the idea and then share that idea And then also we share that what is the servant leadership, what is the principle, what is the quality or 10 quality of servant leadership, so those kind of, workshop style. And what we are doing in here is more practical, like for example, our participant, they form the groups, and then they are going to form the 3 groups for the full life work, and then each group have 7, 8 participants, and then they have a rotation system to practice the livestock and field and then cooking. And then among those, there is one group leader from the participant for 2 weeks. Then that the leader have to conduct the facilitation, and if there is something like a conflict management, they have to do that nonviolent communication, they have to do the listening from each other, and then those kind of things become the practice of the servant leadership. So our program for our own participant for 9 months program is that it's designed to utilize these daily activities to promote the leadership practice. And then for you to come, because it's a 3 weeks program, so you are going to experience and observe how we are doing in here. At the same time, we are going to prepare the workshop so that you can understand what is a servant leadership, which we mean like that.
And then the other element of that is, we'll teach sort of our principles of servant leadership, which is, the basics of communication facilitation, nonviolent conflict resolution. And then as I mentioned, we have our own class on participatory learning and action, where we will sort of teach how to lead group community decision-making process so that those that you work with, whoever's, there's always imbalances in power in how people's voices are expressed. And our PLA workshops are designed to kind of reach out and get those whose voices are least heard, who have the least amount of sort of power, in a sense, and give them the opportunity to voice their opinion, express their feeling in a community. And as particularly in regards to decisions based around priority needs, priorities in project planning, things like that. And so that's one specific example of how we take the fundamentals of the servant leadership in terms of guiding the people that you're working with and applying it to a practical example of project or needs management. Hi.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. It looks like a really wonderful program. And I know that one of the objectives was to deepen understanding of regenerative practices in a global context. So there's definitely a lot of like the local Japanese agricultural history and techniques, but also I'm assuming there is a intercultural dialogue in terms of what applies similarly and what's different. Would that be correct?
Yes. The intercultural dialogue is not specifically built into the classes and the program that you will have. It's built into the shared living setting. As I mentioned, you're living in dormitories with participants in our 9-month program. You're eating meals with them 5 days a week or 7 days a week if you choose to, for the weekends as well. And you're working alongside them in the fields or in the kitchen. And there are a couple of classes where you're all working together, learning together. So that is something that we purposely build the moments of interaction into the daily schedule throughout the 3 weeks. And then the opportunity is there. It's up to you guys to take it.
Mm-hmm. Do regenerative practices include like regenerative design, like designing like areas, or is it more like we have an area already and you're maintaining it through agroecological practices, like permaculture design or regenerative design?
From our side, maybe we are practicing, but we do not include that like permaculture design class, those kind of things. But how about from?
Um, I think what we would do, I think in that case, like thinking about that, so we don't specifically do permaculture design. In terms of a class or in terms of teachings, but what we do teach, we teach about hugelculture, we teach about our agricultural models, and we show you what we do on campus, and we show kind of the various things we do on campus. And from that, it's a matter of sort of what you pick up and what you choose to take with you. Yeah.
So many of the things when I learn about those regenerative agriculture or permaculture, I feel that we are practicing, but we are calling in another name like that. So from your perspective, you can pick up our activities and then you can learn from that. So we do not use the words like that.
Permaculture, regenerative agriculture is a very recent term within Japan. It's still something of an academic term. Agroecology is also something of an academic term. They're both very recent terms. We do many things that are similar to it, and we are still learning how to explain our methods within the context of regenerative design or agroecology. And one of the elements of this particular 3-week program is that Frida from MESA will come and teach agroecology principles as part of the program. And we are also going to then we are going to learn at the same time as you. Right. In a sense.
And then in ARI, we just use that word of organic farming in a practice. But for us, organic farming is not the method of agriculture only, but it's rather philosophy, it's rather the way of living, and then it's include a lot of even social activity too. So you also will see our philosophy too.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I will wrap up pretty quickly, but just as can I get a really quick recap of what would be the most essential tasks needed during the season we visit? I think you may have touched on it, but like a quick recap of the most needed tasks we likely be doing on a daily basis while we're there.
Actually, thank you for this question. I'll just break down the schedule a little bit because our schedule, as I've suggested, there's a lot of work going on the schedule. It is an intensive schedule. And I think this is in some of the program documents. Let me see here. Yeah, GAPP. So this is the GAPP Japan Fellowship Program. There is a sample weekday schedule. So at ARI, we start every morning at 6. We start every weekday and Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m. This is the whole campus morning exercise. If you are familiar within Japanese culture, there's a program called Rajio Taiso, and we do it. And then we have, at this time, we have very, very brief morning meetings within the groups, which are talking about what they're going to do for that day in the vegetable fields and the livestock areas. And at this time, people who cook breakfast then go into the kitchen and start preparing breakfast for the morning. At this time, from 6:30 to 7, there's a brief meeting about discussing what we're going to do for our farm, for what we call food life work, this morning and evening farm work. And then also, there's a bit of campus cleanup time. There are no janitors on campus. Everybody who lives and works here does the cleaning as well during this time. Then from 7 to 8 a.m. on the calendar, it's called Morning Food Life Work. And food life work, this is an ARI term for basically the agricultural and food preparation components of living and working together in an intentional community where almost all staff, participants, volunteers, and you as MESA program participants, go to the vegetable fields or the livestock areas and basically do an hour's worth of necessary work in those areas. That means feeding the livestock. That means preparing vegetable beds or weeding or putting seeds in or harvesting. That's for an hour from 7 to 8 a.m. And then from 8:15 to 9:30 is breakfast, and then there's a break. From 9:30 to 10 a.m., we have a morning sort of, this is a little bit more in-depth of a morning sharing session. This is where people who are at ARI for longer than 2 months have 30 minutes of like their own personal reflection time. And then there will be about 10 minutes of announcements and other things. This is a time to get to learn about people who are at the ARI program, who are here for a long time. So you will learn about them and you can hear more about them, and it's great starting point for conversations later. Then from 10:20 to 12:20, this is class time. So for you as members in the program, you are going to be in either in class or workshops. Some of those workshops are literally just working on the farm and doing what we do there. Sometimes this will be in the weekdays, this will be a trip outside to, say, the Nasu region or to a local farm that we're connected with. Then from 12:30 to 1:45 is lunch and break time. And from 1:45 to 3:45 is another round of those classes. Then from 4 to 5 p.m. is another hour of the what we call food life work. This is vegetable fields, livestock areas. It's feeding livestock, it's working the vegetable fields. Then from 5 to 6:30 is break time. For people who are cooking supper, their break time is from 4 p.m. and then from 5 p.m. they start cooking. Then from 6:30 p.m. is supper and free time. And after that, typically after that, there's different workshops, some programs that people put on voluntarily, different things happening there. So it is, we schedule break times throughout the day, but it is a long day. I'll be honest with you, it's an intensive day. And we do this 5 days a week. Saturday mornings, we do the exercise and the morning farm work, the morning food life work. And as fellows, as you know, in the program, you'll be referred to as fellows. And so while you're there, this is the program you are hopefully signing up for.
Thank you so much. It was really helpful.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
This has been great. Thank you so much. If anyone else has additional questions, please raise your hand or unmute yourself. We'll give you like 10 seconds to do that. Otherwise, we will let Jack and Yukiko-san get on with their day.
Maybe I'll add one last point, which is that while you're there, we've talked about participants in our program, and then you as fellows in this 3-week program. At ARI, there's also, multiple staff members who don't live in the dormitories, but live like on campus, like, we'll point out their buildings on the campus tour. They're visible from the academic buildings. There are also maybe 8 or so long-term volunteers who are from the US, from Germany, and from Japan, who are here for several months to a year, who will also be in the dormitories, as well as a couple other Americans who are on their summer internship time. So they will be here and they will be coming and going while you're there as well. So there will be many people from many different countries that you'll be living and working with. This means in part that although we are based in Japan, it is not always a Japanese experience. And so we will make a point of that, we have the optional trip to Nikko. We visit local farmers as a way to show you a little bit of what's going on in Japan. But ARI model is not necessarily is inspired by, but then diverging a bit from the Japanese model. And so it will feel more international than, say, Tokyo or Kyoto or things like that. So ARI, the 3 weeks at ARI is different from what you might imagine a trip to Japan to be like. I think that's everything. Thank you. If there's no more questions, thank you very much. But if there are questions, please go ahead.
Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. We will definitely make this recording shared with a lot more interested parties. And in the chat, I dropped our email for anyone who wants to follow up. Feel free to follow up with us and check out our webpage if you haven't already, mesaprogram.org/Japan. We look forward to hearing from you, Jack and Yukiko-san. Domo arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
See you all in Japan.
Thank you. Can't wait.